Hello, and welcome to another Contemplative Living podcast. You know, the world that we live in is constantly changing, it's constantly evolving. And we need to make small shifts within, within ourselves in order to, keep up with everything that's going on. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. But, Spirit once said to me, one step at a time, without expectation, allows life to take its own magnificent, elaborate shape and form. And I found that is so true in my life, where every time I make a small shift or move in a direction that is empowering for me, that it takes on its own magnificence. It expands into something so much greater. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get to it.
Welcome. Now creating a life of peace. This is Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Contemplations and reflections to help with spiritual living. This podcast is made possible by dharmatalks.com.
Okay. Yes. Oh, I see, Reinhard. You're in the chat room. Good. Good morning. And yes, we all need to make small shifts, right? It's kind of, it keeps us moving. So we don't want to be stagnant. We want to keep moving. And we hurt. Life is tough sometimes. And so, especially when we see cultures continuing their bickering while forgetting their shared heritage. We're all human beings. We're all walking this earth. But we tend to forget that. We tend to forget that we are part of this world together. And we really should be working together for the betterment of all of us and the world. In order to do that, though, each and every one of us need to find that within ourselves. That's a small shift right there. And be deliberate with your thoughts and strive to make a change. In the vast maze of our minds, thoughts constantly ebb and they flow, and they shape who we are. They shape what we believe in, how we perceive the world. Yet often these thoughts go unnoticed. They pass through our consciousness without leaving a trace. But what if we were to stop for a moment? What if we were to take control of this ceaseless stream of ideas that float inside us? By being deliberate with our thoughts, and by consciously choosing which ones to entertain and amplify, we have the power to create profound shifts within ourselves, which will then translate into the world. It's easy to get lost amidst the chaos. After all, life can be overwhelming. However, in those moments when you find yourself struggling or being stuck, remember this: great change begins with a single thought. If we close our eyes just for a minute and imagine a reality where love overpowers hate, where compassion triumphs over indifference, where unity conquers division. Those images hold great power because they represent possibilities yet untapped. Change is waiting patiently on the horizon. It's up to us to move toward it. You have complete control over how you choose to experience any situation. We can choose to be that calm, peaceful, understanding presence that is watchful, that is being aware and raising our level of awareness to a point that we can see the circumstances around us. We're not so much being driven by them. That's another choice. That's another small shift to raise our awareness. Avoid motivation based on righteousness, because righteousness furthers the divide in the world. When we put on that righteous hat, we then cross the line to one side or the other, and we are chained. We are pulled down by the weight of our own righteousness, and we can't see clearly. It clouds our vision because we're not allowing ourselves to have that higher awareness where we can see above the circumstances, and we can see that there are many points of view. We really don't want to live in that world. We don't want to live in that righteous, self-involved type of world. It's not benefiting anyone. It's not helping. So we want to be of use. We want to be of benefit. That's a key thing that I learned after my near-death experiences, is to be of service in some small way, even if it's just to lift yourself up. That's huge. That's huge, because when you lift yourself up, others are lifted up with you. You know, and I found that it really, really has benefited myself and those around me. Now, in order to do that, we make small shifts incorporating a gentler, kinder, spiritual me into our practice. You know, in this section of the podcast, we're exploring the power of incorporating a gentler, kinder, spiritual me into our practice. And in a world that often encourages hustle, competition, self-centeredness, it can be easy to lose sight of our authentic self. And boy, I know what I'm talking about. I used to be that self-centered, self-involved individual. But there's no need to fear. We're here, and we can be guided by connecting within ourselves and start the transformation. Imagine infusing your practice with compassion, empathy, and love. Love for yourself, for others, and let go of judgment and embrace acceptance, embrace discernment. Those are the things that help us to make that shift. They're small things, but each and every one of them can have a powerful impact on us. You know, start by noticing the thoughts and emotions that, come into your meditation or your prayers. Observe them without attaching labels or criticism or judgments. Instead of striving for perfection or enlightenment overnight, allow yourself some space to grow at your own pace. Seek opportunities for random acts of kindness. Smile genuinely at strangers on the street. Lend an ear when someone needs to vent. Send uplifting messages to friends just because they crossed your mind. Simple gestures like this cultivate connection while reminding us that spirituality is intrinsically linked with our human interactions. Also, remember self-care. Remember, self-care it's not selfish. It's essential to nurture a gentle spiritual me. Prioritize activities that bring you joy. Take long walks. indulge in creativity. Create art purely for the pleasure that it brings you. It doesn't have to have a purpose. All moments are equally precious, and freedom is never diminished. We lose sight of this a lot in our day-to-day because we have stuff to do and circumstances that demand us to go here, be there. But because we're swept up in the circumstances, we're not really existing in that higher area of circumstance, in that higher level. And when we do, we can see that every moment is precious. We can see that there's a freedom that's available to us in our higher level of awareness. And there can be no more hesitation. We don't want to hesitate anymore. No postponement. No pulling back and waiting for a more opportune time. So put your hat on. Life is coming at us. It's coming at us and summoning us with our courage to make small shifts. Small shifts towards the unknown. And we allow the universe to conspire with us. It's easy to fall into the trap of complacency, finding comfort in familiarity. And when we do that, we ignore the whispers of growth that beckons us from within. Deep down, we know that true fulfillment lies beyond our comfort zone. And making small shifts doesn't require grand gestures. It demands a willingness to embrace uncertainty and trust in ourselves. It means taking those tentative steps toward what lights us up inside. Even if they seem insignificant at a glance. Seemingly inconsequential moves have an uncanny way of creating ripples that extend far beyond what we can imagine. I saw that in my life review. That they awaken dormant passions. They forge new connections and open doors we never knew existed. But if we don't make those shifts, we won't find that. No longer can we afford to wait for life's perfect timing, because such a moment may never come. The world is constantly evolving. And so are we. So are we. We are constantly changing. Sometimes we're unaware. Change waits for no one. What was that? There was a famous quote. I believe it was Jeff Chaucer said, "Time and tide wait for no man." Well, change waits for no one. It only accompanies those who dare to step forward with unwavering conviction. So, making small shifts. We all move toward being a better person. We want to move toward being understanding, more being at peace. But it takes action, compassionate action, in order to accomplish those little shifts. And every time we do, it's like taking a step up, and we feel it. And our shoulders move back. We feel empowered. Small steps are what are going to change the world. It's not magically going to shift overnight. It's a series of small shifts that really start change. And the more small shifts that we can contribute on our own, the more we build momentum into something greater. I hope that you find something that you can do. Hi, Sally. I'm glad you could join us. And I hope you can all find something to shift within your life to help you become that positive influence, that positive, empowering person that you were meant to be. I hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.
Thank you for listening today to Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Please be sure to subscribe, listen, and share with your friends wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the Podbean app. You can find the links to these on David's website, dharmatalks.com, on the Contemplative Living page. Have a blessed